I'll just get this out of the way because this is hiding the gremlins, I'm sure, in there. So that's my new multimeter. Kevin here, KJ's Moto, and I think I've got two electrical problems going on with the TLR, plus on top of the QuickShifter that has been, I've been concentrating on the QuickShifter, but I've got some other issues that are on the bike that is confusing the whole thing. Because I just did another weekend, Saturday and Sunday ride, probably put in about 300 kilometres in the country hills the first day, and then a country run out to a town on the second day with a friend of mine who's a mechanic, and we had time to discuss what's going on with it. Well, it's the strangest thing. I've never had it before on any of my other bikes, but what happens is you press the starter button, the engine starts cranking over and it doesn't fire, it doesn't splutter, it doesn't do anything, it just cranks over. And then when you release the button, the engine kicks into life. It's like almost like these new Suzukis where you touch the button and the engine starts. But this is 2002, the old style, you just keep your finger on the button until the engine kicks into life, but not this. So what we're thinking that the problem is that the electrical charge from the battery is all going to the starter motor and there's nothing left for the ECU or to the coils to the spark plugs. So we're going to have a look at the battery. The second problem has been the neutral light. Now it's sometimes dull and flickering away, almost pulsing with the engine RPM as it's idling, and other times it's bright and looks normal, but considering you're out in the sunlight and the dash is not that high tech anyway, you know, it's real old school. So, but last weekend I was at the first set of traffic lights and the neutral light was going, oh, where is it? You know, like it's early in the morning, it's winter here, it's a sort of a dull start to the day and I couldn't even see the neutral light. And then later on, it's different. So I've been doing some searching on old TLR zone forums and things like that, and people are saying about the gear shift sensor or gear shift indicator. Now that's very interesting because I've had a similar problem with my Hayabusa way back. When I first bought that years ago, it came with one of these gear position indicators, these aftermarket gear position indicators, and when you were riding along it would jump between 4th and 5th and 3rd, and it was just all over the place. All the numbers were just going anywhere. So it's all off now. And I changed the gear position sensor with a new one. And since then I've actually changed my other Gen 1 as well. Now, because Suzuki changed the Gen 1 gear position sensor to the Gen 2, they updated it. I think I got the same problem with that because it just doesn't seem to be correct with what's going on. Now, I've got the settings good, it's powering through the shifts, but it will just randomly kill the engine as you're going along without touching the gear lever, without changing gear, without doing anything. You're just riding along and it starts hiccuping, you know, hic. And you're going, it's like someone flicking the on-off kill button on the handlebar. And I'm thinking that it's this gear shift sensor. Now this sensor lives on the end of the shift drum in your gearbox, at the end of that. So when you change gear, this sensor picks up the rotation of the drum, the shift drum, and it sends a signal back up to the ECU to tell the ECU what gear the engine's in because of the ignition maps and fueling maps that you got for each gear, and neutral of course. So is it sending confused messages up to the ECU and then the QuickShifter's just going, I'll just kill it. So I'm kind of hopeful that the sensor is the problem for the QuickShifter. Now just have a look at these batteries. I was learning about batteries. Now this is the battery that came out of the bike. I've still got it, they didn't have to hand it in or anything, and here's the new one. Now the battery shop, which is only 5 minutes down the road, they stock these, so for convenience I just went straight to them to see what we could find out about this battery that's in it. Now I'd normally charge it up before a ride. I don't use a trickle charger, I just have a good main battery charger that's capable of doing the car batteries and the lithium battery, and I'd make sure the battery is fully charged before I'd go for a ride. But I've learnt that this battery is slowly dying, it seems. Now I'll just show what they do. They give you can tell my videos are real because the background noise, no need for music. Now the battery people can give you a printout of the condition of the battery, and to make things simple so we can read it, fully charged. The new battery is 13.14 volts. The old battery, fully charged by the new battery charger, is 12.96. So even though I was charging the old battery that's in the bike with the battery charger, it was only having a capacity of 12.96 volts, whereas the new one is 13. Now moving on to the other test results, I checked to make sure that the batteries that I was actually buying are the recommended for the bike, the TLR, and it's 160 CCA cold cranking amps. So I've got the correct battery. That's a good start for thing. Now the old battery measured at 160 CCA, and the new one 280 CCA at the at the shop. And then the internal resistance of the old battery was 15.34, and the new battery's resistance was measured at 8.78 ohms. So even though they said, now this is the good thing about the battery shop, they didn't try and sell me a new battery or anything like that. It actually checked out to be what they considered okay and needing a recharge. And I said, well, I've got something going on with the bike. And he said, well, you know, it can depend upon the engine's compression. And that kind of makes sense too, doesn't it? And a V-twin may be harder to start than the multis, the four-cylinder engines that I've had many, many years of. So I thought, okay, I'll just bite the bullet. Even though they say it's okay, I'll go for a new battery. We started off with the ignition off at 12.95 volts. Then when the ignition on, which means lights are on and things like that, it was 12.24. When the engine cranked, it fired up pretty immediately, but looking closely it got down to 11.2. Then at idle it was sitting at the good range of 13.3 to 13.5, so it was right in the good range of charging the battery at idle. But when the revs went up, it dropped down to 12 volts, 12.76 or 12.77. What does all that mean? I think it's got another problem besides the gear shift indicator sensor. I think there's something wrong there with the charging of either the stator or the regulator rectifier. Once again, back to the Hayabusa's, very common for the regulator rectifiers to fail. That's happened to me once, but it failed totally and it doesn't charge the battery at all. I've never had one where it's looking good at idle and then when the revs go up, the voltage goes down. So this little saga is to be continued. See you in the next one, guys. See if I can figure it out. Bye.